Really appreciate everybody for tuning in. My name is Law Nation, and we're going to talk about the Dallas Cowboys, Jason Lawrence Simmons. Shout out to the Lawrences out there. That's his middle name. All right, so they bringing him in for an interview to be the defensive coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys. Now, on my live feed, I was going over this point right here. Regardless of who they bring in, the Jones family or Will McClay, Chris Hall, and all of those boys, they got to allow him to really bring in his staff as well. They do. At the end of the day, what we really don't want is for a defensive coordinator to come in here and not be able to have his influences with him. Maybe it's a defensive line coach. Maybe it's a secondary coach. Maybe it's a linebackers coach. You got to empower that particular defensive coordinator. If not, it will be the exact same thing happening over and over and over again. Now, Jason Simmons, he is a defensive-minded person, of course. He played the safety role, strong safety at that. One can argue and say, well, Cowboy Nation, we've been having issues and warts as relates to safety play, whether it be the free or the strong. Let's bring in a person with that type of mindset, right, to help embrace that position right there. Now, I will say that this is just them leaving no stone unturned. We do know that he got some type of relationship or relations with Mike McCarthy, and he's probably going down his buddy list, seeking who he can help out to bring in. All I want is for the Cowboys not to be PC with this thing, politically correct, by the way. I want them to go out there and bring in the best. We deserve the best. And, of course, I know that they probably reached out to Mike McCarthy and said, hey, who else do you consider? Who do you recommend for this position? Who do you know for sure that can work with you, that can work with the existing staff? And he probably went through his Rolodex of names there, and that's when the Whitt guy fell in. And now that's when Jason Simmons is falling in to that category of, okay, these are guys I worked with. But like I said on my live feed, comfortability, being comfortable, all of those things normally do not achieve your goal. It's hard. I'm telling you guys, it's hard to get a six-pack sitting on the couch, eating Domino's pizza, Bluebell ice cream. You know, it's hard to get those six-pack, but you got to work towards that goal. You got to get yourself out of that mindset of being comfortable. That's all I'm saying. And it belittles the coach that come into this particular situation. And you say, okay, now you got to work with the pieces I'm giving you. Now, I do know that there's a situation in a scenario when you're trying to get the job, you sit there and say to yourself, I can work with anybody. I'm a team builder. I can build up anybody. I can elevate anything. But sometimes philosophies do not mix. And the hard truth got to be set upon everybody and placed on the table. If the new defensive coordinator do not like the way Maurice Linguist is teaching the techniques, he don't have time to go over there and say, okay, I want it to be ran this way. He should be looking at it like, hey, call everybody into the meeting room, call everybody into the office and say, hey, Maurice Linguist, and this is just me giving an analogy. Hey, man, I appreciate what you did for the Dallas Cowboys in 2020, but it's 2021. And the way you are teaching, the way your techniques are, unfortunately, we're going to have to let you go because I got somebody that can do it better. The problem is with the Jones family and the Cowboys organization right now. It's just what Mike McCarthy said. They're running it as a mom and pop's operation, meaning that you can know somebody with more experience, more talent, more knowledge, and you say, nah, I'm going to pass up on you because I know for sure that this is family. I know them, I trust them. Although you can probably show me a better situation and a better scenario, but you're not family. And that's why I said in my video, nice guys finish last. And we just don't want to be looking at this thing saying, okay, the Cowboys rolling into 2021 without that defensive coordinator, and we're just moving pieces around on the Titanic ship, moving furniture around to this corner and moving furniture around to that corner, and then we're going around doing the same thing over and over again. Let's not play around with this. Do the due diligence. I can see that part of it. I can't get mad at it. But also make sure that you're bringing in quality coaches that can test everybody, that can hold people accountable. That's all we are saying, collectively speaking. I believe that's what the people that represent the fan bases that's out here that represent the Dallas Cowboys' passion and love and adulations. That's all they want. You can talk about salary cap. You can talk about that from left to right. Newsflash, there's no salary cap as it relates to hiring coaches. You can talk about you can write a check out that can spell Super Bowl if you could, but prove it with your actions. A lot of people talk a lot of stuff, but the reality of it, if you really want to take care of business, and I'm talking to the Joneses at this point, pick up the phone. It's so easy. Call the best of the best defensive coordinators out there and say, hey, I got the big bucks over here, baby. I got the money, the moolah, the bag, the paper. Come on over here to Dallas land. I got so much money I can buy your money. That should be the conversation. That should be the conversation. Not talking about this, not talking about that, not bringing in somebody that you have to develop, because the last two guys, you will have to develop them into becoming a defensive coordinator. And then we got to understand, too, if you are not allowing them to bring in their own staff and their philosophies and things like that, then you will have animosity, strife amongst everybody else that's there, because other people within the confines of the locker room that's already been here last year saying, hey, I deserve that moment. I deserve to be a head coach. I deserve to be the defensive coordinator. Why they didn't call me for that interview? You see how this thing can go? There's a lot of egos in this situation as it relates to coaching. Somebody can be looking at it like, hey, why? They getting paid more than me. Oh, I got more experience than said person. There's a lot of crazy things that goes around. Pride, too. Pride comes around with this situation as well. Now, I'm not saying that Jason Simmons should not deserve a chance and an opportunity. Granted, he might go into this doggone interview and just be lights out. Say, man, that's a good situation. But low key, he already got the cheat notes. Just lie to kick it. The Jones are buying. Just say, hey, man, I watched every play of the Dallas Cowboys defense last season, right? He got one more room for this improvement if you do it this way. Oh, I didn't like the hybrid. I like this style. You can finagle your way all the way in. You can. And that is the truth right there. That is the stone cold truth right there. So at the end of the day, whether it's Jason Simmons, Marvin Lewis, Lovie Smith, Dan Quinn, the Madison man, whoever, I don't care. You got to allow them to coach and bring in their own staff as well and their philosophies and grab a hold to this team. You got to allow them to evaluate. The first move will be, if any of these guys are the new defensive coordinator, if any of them, the first move should be coaches meeting. You look everybody in their eyes. You look them right in their eyes, not at the shoelaces, not at the belt line, not at the chest, not in the eardrum. Look them right in their eyes and say, hey, I got to start selling this situation. That everybody got to buy into my philosophy. Everyone. No backbiting, no back talking. If you feel like you belong in that seat, then let's have our one-on-one right now. If you feel like you belong in that seat. If you don't, we can continue to have this group conversation. But I want to have a one-on-one with every one of you guys. And we got a goal. I want you guys to hate losing just as much as you love to win. And that should be the battle cry. The defensive coordinator got to have some marbles, some stone, some ground to stand on. He got to be able to establish that identity. That, man, it's no time for error, no room for error around here. We don't play around with this stuff. It's time for us to be man around here, right? To be stone cold crazy, but with a calculated decision. Then after that meeting, he called up all of those guys who got expiring contracts or contracts that about to expire, the players, and he looked at them and their faces on the defensive side, of course, and he tried to find out, what is your why? Are you here for a paycheck? Are you here for the fortune and fame? Are you here to win? Are you here to just win regular season games, or is it playoff season? Or is it Super Bowl? And if you say that you want to win a Super Bowl, here's a list of things that you must achieve. And it should be a list that he already have calculated. A workout regimen, time, more time, responsibilities and accountability. And I love the fact even with Chris Richard, each one teach one. Disciplined football, no hero ball, all of that stuff. That is what the defensive coordinator is supposed to exhibit and exude and establish. That type of stuff. And then he sit the owners down and he looked the owners right in their eyes and say, this position of coach, he don't have the marbles. This player right here, he ain't about that life. And then he get with Will McClay, Chris Hall, the scouting department, whoever else, and say, I'm looking for these guys in the draft. But before we go there, here's my wish list, or here's a guy that I really need to have on the team from the free agency pool. That should be the mindset. Collectively speaking, I know that some of these guys will not have the longitude and latitude or the stones or marbles or the cojones, however you want to say it, to go to the Joneses and say that, but that got to be the scenario and the answer. Whether it's, like I said, Jason Lawrence, Simmons, Joe Whitt Jr., regardless of who they bring in, they got to establish that as this defense. And they got to sign a contract of saying that we would no longer be the historically bad defense for the 2021 season. That was of the past. Regardless of whether or not it's pandemic or not. I'm coming here to change this whole thing. We got to have that mindset. Post me your thoughts. Post me your concerns down below. Also, Cowboy Nation, let me know. Give me your top 3 candidates that you would really like for the Cowboys to bring in for an interview. Or if you feel like Jason Simmons is the answer, put it down. State your case. Like I said, he can nail the interview. He can tell everybody, man, the blueprint is already out there. Lie to kick it. That's what McCarthy did, right? Jokingly speaking, or sarcastically speaking, for those who don't know. That's been my time. I really thank you all for yours. And remember, you're listening to nothing but the best. Let's go, Cowboy Nation. Let's go. Salute. Out. Peace.
Outstanding. Impressive.
He ain't lying.